Hello. Thank you all for joining me again on Daily Meditations and Other Mumbo Jumbo. My name is Gold Stacy, and today we're going to I wanted to talk about knowing. I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, the different types of knowing. And as I was meditating with Blue and just listening to our dialogue from that wonderful space that I do listen to our dialogue, where I'm doing my best to not overthink or rationalize or insert, just listen and go with the flow and be open to the source energy wisdom that's directly coming through. And it was like three different levels of knowing. So let's talk about self-knowing. Let's start there. There are so many different ways you can know yourself. Some people use astrology. Some people use the human design charts. Some people will use I Ching. Some people will use Chinese astrology. Some people will use religion. And whatever their holy book says that they were created for, that's what they will go by. That's what they will know themselves as. So in knowing yourself, there's all these different ways you can study and know yourself, right? Like I said, you can get your birth chart done. You can read the I Ching. You can, if you're into Vedic astrology, if you're into the human design reports. There's also things such as love language. What is your love language, What type of learner are you? These are all different ways of knowing yourself. You can also never have read any of those types of books or done any of that type of work and just been observant to what you like, what you don't like. When you're shining and most, on top of your game, and then when maybe you're not, maybe when you're tired or you're not at your best. These are all the different ways you can know yourself. Personally, if you say the chart or the reading, I have done it. To know yourself is to have a blueprint, to understand what is doable and what is just, I'm going to leave that alone because it may hurt me, or worse, take me out before I'm done with my experience. So you can know yourself, but really, how are you getting to know yourself? Are you using, like I said, different books and guides? Are you getting readings from other people? Or are you just in a relationship with yourself where you're paying attention to what turns you on and what turns you off? I like to do both. I like to learn what is true about what I've gotten a reading on. So I may have gotten a reading that says, like, for instance, I had a human design reading done on how to eat. And it stated that the best meals for me are whole meals with whole grains, whole proteins, not processed foods, not fast foods, not snack foods. It didn't specify vegetarian, pescatarian. It just said whole foods. Whatever you eat, let it be a whole meal, simple and whole. So a potato, some vegetables, spinach, kale, some protein, whatever protein, salmon, steak, and to be honest, this is exactly how I eat for well-being. I do eat for my blood type. Another book that I read to help me know myself. And this knowing helped me to create some harmony in my diet. And when I got that human design report, and it stated that, whole, simple meals with simple ingredients, farm fresh would be the best word to describe it. This is precisely how I eat. This is exactly what I do. So you can get the book knowledge and you can get the readings and you can study so that you may know yourself, right? But then there has to be a time of studying what you know. so that you can make sure you're in alignment with who you actually are. The worst thing you can do is take information that's coming from without via a book or another person and make that the law for yourself. You want to study. You want to know, which kind of brings me to the next type of knowing, a general knowing. A knowing that comes from paying attention to the world, paying attention in school, reading and being open and studying the people, the world, your interactions, their interactions. Just being present in the now can give you so much knowing. A lot of us will look to our greatest spiritual masters. We have Jesus, we have Muhammad, we have Mother Teresa. We have all of these different archetypes and all these different people who have been here before us. And when you look at their life, they had to go through some type of training so that they may know without a shadow of a doubt certain subjects, certain topics, and certain practices. They did not just go out and start to teach or start to talk. There was a period of learning which led to an understanding, a knowing. And when you take that self-knowing and you marry it to general knowing, knowing the world, knowing people, knowing how to be a part of the world, how to be in the world, if it suits you, how to be of the world. When you take those two knowings and you put them together, you can create some really good success for yourself. You can create a way for yourself and possibly a way for others. This is what I was thinking about when I was thinking about knowing. What do I know? What do I know about the world? What do I know about others? What do I know about source energy, God, Allah, Jehovah? And what I knew in that moment as I asked myself this question just a few days ago, I knew that it's all love. I know that. I know that. I rest in that. And having that general knowledge is very important once you have your self-knowledge. Because when you have your self-knowledge, you want to do some things now. You know, you want to get out into the world and practice being you. You want to be who you know you are. But that might be a challenge if you don't know much about the world, if you don't know much about people, if you don't know much about social intelligence, if you don't know much about emotional intelligence. So knowing all those wonderful things about yourself would mean nothing if you don't know the world, or you don't know how to move in the world, or how to speak through the world or to the world. Right? And what I know about knowing from just meditating on it for the last couple of days, I was very aware of once I got into what is there to know in the world, what is there to know outside of me. In that exact moment, I became aware that I, even with all the information that I can get from blue energy, from all the channeling I can do to know more about self and the environment, there will be so much more. This is what I know. There will be so much more that I would never know. There's going to be things that I would never know. And I know this. And that knowing, for me, is comfortable. It's comforting. Could you imagine knowing everything? Never being surprised? Never being in awe? Never being able to learn more? Because you know everything. You know it all. So where do you go if you know it all? In my humble opinion, that's when it's time to just go ahead and go to the next place. Because you know everything. So where is learning? Where is surprise? Where is awe? Where is living? One of the best parts about living is not knowing. It sets a wonderful stage for learning. Not knowing is usually the first step that one takes when one decides to know something. You have to accept and you have to admit that you don't know what you don't know. And if it's in your best interest, or if it's in your mind's eye to know the unknowable, you begin a journey. That journey may include books. That journey may include asking questions. It may include going to lectures. It may just include watching YouTube videos. But what you know is that you don't know some things, and you want to know those things. And here on this beautiful planet Earth, there is so much that is knowable. There is so much that can be taught and showed. And that's beautiful, to know that. To know that there's always a way to get more understanding, more information, more wisdom, more knowledge. So in your journey of knowing more about yourself, and then meeting the world and wanting to know more about the world, you begin to know what knowing is and what knowing is not. Knowing is not repetition. Knowing is not experimentation. Knowing is certain. It's clear. It is. And within that, there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of opportunity. So today, as I got on to talk with you all and to share with you all what I have experienced and what I know about knowing, it became clear to me that to know is to be. To be is to know. And what better way to just be yourself than to know yourself? What better way to be in the world than to know some of the world, or know the world even? Let's be bold. Let's be courageous and say, yeah, I could know the world. I can know parts of it. I can know the whole thing, maybe even. Knowing. I meditated on this for 2 days and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and knew about it. And I can share with you that knowing is beautiful. Knowing creates opportunity. And no one can tell you about yourself if they don't know you. You don't have to accept someone else's knowings. No, you don't. But it's a beautiful thing to accept your own and be open to more knowing, whether it comes from a person, a book, a place, an animal, a thing. So go out in the world, you all, and be prepared and be open to know what you know. Be prepared and open to know more. Be willing to know more. Be willing to know yourself. Be willing to want to know of the world and others in it. Because this knowledge, again, can create some wonderful opportunities. I'm so grateful and so thankful that you've listened with me today. Thank you for joining me on Daily Meditations and Other Mumbo Jumbo. Today we talked about knowing, and I know it's going to be a great show for you to listen to. Later.